Well, Claire and Marvia, of course, have been a team for as long as any of us can remember, and they've been wonderful friends to have, and they have been wonderful companions for each other, and they've been truly exceptional parents for their boys. And he's always just been a very devoted family person, and it's just been an honor for me and Gloria to have their friendship and their support over all of these years.
In the late 1970s, there was a vacancy in the lieutenant governorship of California. Claire was interested in running until he approached Marvia with the idea. She said, well, of course you can run, darling, if you don't mind doing it as a bachelor.
And he was a wonderful family man, and of course what sustained him was the great love affair, one of the great love affairs of all time, with a gorgeous girl with whom he fell in love in the 7th grade. He told me I was crazy about her then, and it just got better. Can't think of Clara without thinking of Marvia. That brings a big smile, too.
I think one that I will never forget for some obvious reasons is the fact that Rosemarie, my wife, and I ran into Claire and Marvia at Fairbanks Ranch when it first opened, and they were selling lots. And I believe the lots were at least 60,000, if not more. Somehow the figure of 80,000 to 100,000 sticks in my mind. Well, considering we had only paid 80,000 for our house, we were having trouble trying to consider buying a lot for what we had paid for an entire home. Of course, Claire was more foresighted than I was, and bought one and spent many years, I'm sure happy years, living in Fairbanks Ranch.
California wives in Washington always wanted their husbands to return from their districts with a plentiful supply of oranges and avocados and fresh squash. Claire stood up to Marvia on this one. He said, honey, if that suitcase ever pops open in the airport, I'm just walking away from it.
We became very good friends. We vacationed together. I can remember a couple of trips to Mexico in particular that were great fun. And once again, I have a vivid memory of him. He was so witty, and he had so much humor about him that when people were around him, they were just smiling in anticipation of his being funny, and he always was. I remember one time when we were down in Mexico, the Kleins, the Parmas, the Burgeners, and the Wilsons. We were down there at Puerto Vallarta, and we'd rented a house, and it had a tennis court. So we made the mistaken judgment that we should play tennis. And we were all, I'd say, about equally bad, except for Marge Klein, who was a pro and put the rest of us to shame once she came out. But the 4 guys were playing, and we were about equally bad, so the games were dragging on. They weren't skillfully fought, but they were, I guess, hard fought. Anyway, they took a long time. And the fun was beginning to fade. As the temperature rose, it was hotter than blazes and very humid. And all of a sudden, at one point, Claire, who was about to serve, went, oh God, will this good time never end? He had an absolute sense of what to say, when to say it, how to say it. Unfailingly, he cracked up his audience.
He will be remembered as a man, not as a Republican or a Democrat or an independent, although most of us certainly remember him as a Republican. But he'll be remembered as a person who made a mark on our lives.
Everyone will continue to talk about Claire as a wonderful human being.
As one of the straightest shooters that anyone has known in politics.
With the greatest gratitude, respect, and affection. He'll be remembered with smiles and laughter by all the people whom he made laugh so many times, and that's almost everyone he ever met. And he will be remembered with great fondness. He'll be remembered by people who owe him a debt of gratitude for the leadership that he gave, but the state and national level, he was a tremendous leader in the care and the creation of opportunity for the retarded. He was truly a national leader and recognized as such. But he'll be remembered not only by constituents, but by his colleagues in Sacramento and in Washington for the tremendous work he did as a legislator. He was good. He was very good at it. And they'll remember him as a man of principle and of integrity.
He was a role model for generations of young politicians. He was such a person of quality and integrity. And Claire is a great guy and a very nice guy. But he is certainly Mr. Integrity.
Decent, I suppose, but it doesn't begin to cover the spectrum, the complexity of the man, and all the gifts and talents that he had, and all the good that he did.
Caring.
Gracious.
Integrity.
Claire is a man who will be remembered by a lot of people for as long as they live.